Hello,
Hey,
KZOOMers.
everybody.
Some of you who I'm so happy to see every week, and others who just show up once in a while, and maybe there's a couple of new faces here too. So, and
Yeah,
whoever
great.
said, make sure your name is underneath your picture so we know how to address you.
Yes.
So iPad, you can give us your name, and let's just take a look around the Zoom room. Anybody who can show their face can show their face, and we can connect with each other in practice together. Such an honor to be doing this together for a year and a half or more, and building a kind of weird community that I never thought possible. But when I see your faces, it's like,
I'm in love with you.
So happy. It makes us so happy.
Yeah.
And even your names, even seeing your names.
Yeah.
So many people that we're happy to see. And it's so important to have this community, to do the challenging spiritual work that we shouldn't be doing on our own, really. We need to do that work in community. And then the community can send us to our own depths, to that place inside us that we need to do the work. And then we come back to the community. So it's been a kind of a strange thing that such connection can grow in this time of disconnection. So the inspiration for this KZOOM, which I'm calling the journey from shame to glory, was inspired by the text from the Song of Songs. That's still we're in chapter 1, and after igniting a kind of enthusiasm to step onto the path of love, we have this hard situation, really, where the lover says, "I am dark and beautiful," or some translation says, "I am dark but beautiful. I am dark and beautiful." And then she calls on her community, "O daughters of Jerusalem." And I hold all these contradictions in me. There's this darkness in me, which is the place that is yet to be explored. And I'm going to say that it's the place of shame in us. And I've been this past week I've been studying all shame, and actually I found out there's like a whole institute of shame studying, because shame is sort of like this epidemic in our culture, and it is and obviously very old, since it's in this ancient text. And there's a kind of a plea that she asks, that she says, "Do not see me as dark, for the sun has stared at me. My brothers quarreled with me. They made me guard the vineyards. I have not guarded my own." And out of this text, out of this text comes, kind of like not just our own shame, but the shame that is kind of built into our culture, that is, made out of racism and classism and hierarchies that really keep some people down, and give people kind of a message of unworthiness. And and somebody mentioned the teachings of the studies of Brene Brown, who studied shame, and when she looked at what keeps people from being connected and to feel belonging and connection, and she found that it was a sense of not being worthy of connection. And another way of saying shame, and that the antidote to shame is empathy. And because shame kind of grows in the dark, it grows in secrecy, in hiding, and it's been so interesting this week, like searching my own heart and allowing kind of memories to like arise that are like buried inside me for a long, long time, And this week I had this memory of being 12 years old, waiting to go into Hebrew school and playing outside of Hebrew school. I was like, and the son of the Hebrew school principal was there, and I was 12 years old. I had a miniskirt on because that was what you wore in those days. And he looked at me and he said, "You're disgusting." And I didn't know what to do with that.
No.
He was someone who was like a couple years older than me. I admired him. He was the son of the principal. And he said, "You're disgusting." And I was like, and then I completely forgot about that memory until this week. To be able to say, where did that go in me? Where did it stayed inside me somehow. And the spiritual work is to be able to excavate it. Brene Brown says, only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. So this takes some courage to explore that darkness or the places of shame in us. And so I wanted to introduce you to this practice that takes those words that says, I am dark and beautiful. Wait a minute, there's a message to me of saying, why did I mention the usual litany of racism? Because part of what this line comes out of is a sense that dark is bad. And also dark meaning, when I say classism, meaning like I had to be outside working, and so the sun shone on me, and if I was of a higher class, I wouldn't be so dark, so that was the part also of that oppression. So as I compose this practice, I realize that when I say I am dark and beautiful, there's two different ways I can say it. I can say it in the exploration of that shame in me, that place of like, you're disgusting. I can say it like, oh, I'm dark and beautiful. And I can also say it, oh, I am dark and beautiful. Mm-hmm. I can say those same words and come into my glory. Mm-hmm. And say, even not just in spite of my darkness or those deep hidden places in me, but because of them, that those places of trauma also hold my power as I move through them. So I learned, that whenever I'm chanting, I am calling on a certain state of consciousness. When I sing in a certain way, I go to a place. The chant takes me there, and then I sing those same words in another way, and it takes me someplace else. And what I learned from my teacher, Paul Ray, was that the important thing is that we establish something he called the fluidity of states, which means we go from one state to another, and we don't get stuck in any one place. And so this chant really helps me in that fluidity. And I begin the chant with this kind of place that I'm working through my shame. I'm working through those dark places. I'm doing an exploration of that place inside me, and I sing. Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'nava, b'not Yerushalayim. So I call on the daughters of Jerusalem to help me transform that place of shame into the path of glory. Shorani v'navani, Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'navani, Shorani v'nava. And then from there I dive back into the darkness. Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'nava, b'not Yerushalayim. Shorani v'navani, Shorani v'nava. Let's shine that glory. Shorani v'navani, Shorani v'nava. Dive down deep. Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'nava, b'not Yerushalayim. Shorani v'navani, Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'navani, Shorani v'nava. One more deep dive. Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'nava, b'not Yerushalayim. Shorani v'navani, Shorani v'nava, Shorani v'nava. invite you to just close your eyes and feel that possibility of releasing the shame, opening up to the glory of your true identity. So I want to step onto that path from shame to glory, and it means confronting some of that shame place. And the shame, this voice of shame, says two things. It says you're not good enough, and who do you think you are? And it's those messages are just kind of debilitating, because it's not about what you do, it's about who you are. So when you make mistakes, which we all do, we come back from those mistakes. We ask for forgiveness, or we learn from our mistakes, and but when shame says this is who you are, that is, that's traumatic. That's something that we need to heal from. And Brené Brown calls shame the most powerful master emotion. So we want to take it says that Jungians call shame the swampland of the soul. I thought that was a great.
That's a good image.
Swamplands of the soul.
It is indeed.
But you need to go into that muck and come forth. And so I wanted to find some practices that could help us on the journey. And the first one I found here is one that I call the Cornerstone. It's from Psalm 118, and it kind of says, like, here is the secret, here is the truth, that the stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. So that place in us that was rejected will be transformed through our awareness, through our connection, through this process of healing. That will become the strength, the place from which we will serve, the place,
our foundation.
Stone. That's how important it is to do this work. That is the cornerstone. And if what shame does, it shuts us down, and then we don't have access to these incredible resources in us that we need in order to take this journey of awakening. So in this practice, we hold up the Evven Masu, the rejected place, and we hold it with such honor and affection and really reverence for what we had to go through in our lives, because we kind of just like bring forth the faith that rejected stone is going to be so important to
it will serve us so well in the rest of our lives.
Right, and serve others as well.
Others, if we can recover from it. Yeah.
So.
The thing about, you're too sensitive. It's like, well, I made a great counselor. My sensitivity made me be a great counselor. So I still am, I guess.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So let's see if we can just take these words and embody them and begin to sort of come out of the swamp, the swamplands of the soul, and find that stone, which is kind of the treasure that is buried in us.
Evven masu habonim hayata l'rosh pinah. 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 Evven masu habonim hayata l'rosh Rosh Pinah. Evven masu habonim. Rosh Pinah. Evven masu habonim. Rosh Pinah.
And in the silence, I invite you to just find in the swamplands of your soul something old, something buried there, a memory, a feeling, something that, maybe was never quite digested or healed, but just kind of some old thing that sits there. And you want to just lift it up out of the swamp and feel that stone in your heart, lift it up with kind of a sense of like, oh, I want to do tikkun here. I want to honor and bring compassion to my past self. That poor little 12-year-old girl.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. A lot of compassion and empathy.
Yeah. Empathy is the antidote.
Yeah.
The antidote. So I want to say that, the importance of doing this work is like often, like when we are criticized, we can, it can turn into two different things. We can feel bad about ourselves, and we can also become, we can become critical of ourselves, but we can also, when that is not brought to awareness, we become critical of what's out there, of whoever we're with. It's like we've internalized that criticism, and then we end up projecting it out to the world or even to the people that we love. And so that's why it becomes so important to do the work, and like that way that where I've internalized that criticism can make me sensitive to criticism and see criticism everywhere, or it can make me critical, right? And both are ways of just different ways of suffering in this world. So the question of this week of contemplation is, can I release shame, blame, guilt, or regrets about the past and open to the gift of this day? And there is a sense that I get is like God is waiting for me to make some space, to that there's a flow happening all the time. If I could show up for it and become spacious and open to that flow, open to that, the beauty of this moment. But if I am sort of like tangled up in the past, I can't do that. And tangled up sometimes in other people's projections or in the intergenerational trauma that I have inherited, that shame of generations that has been passed down to me over the generations. So bringing it to awareness and calling on the daughters of Jerusalem, our companions on the path, to give us some empathy. And maybe you want to just take a moment to look around the Zoom room and see if you can send some empathy to everyone that is here, to be able to look into those eyes and see that everybody has experienced you didn't deserve to be treated that way. No, you are worthy of connection. You're worthy of connection. So, so part of this pathway that I want to take, I want to do a practice that was helpful to me in releasing some other people's blame and shame. And it says Et-halaych. So it is a kind of a formula. Sometimes when I'm feeling a heaviness in me of about the world, about other people's projections, I say, okay, I need to go for a walk. I need to move this energy. There's something stuck in me. So Et-halaych is a kind of advice that says, take yourself for a walk. But tom levavi, in the integrity, simplicity, purity of your own heart. It's like reconnect with that place of your pure soul. And if everyone would like to, just like, if you feel like taking a walk in the room where you are right now, as we're chanting. I'm going to sit so that I can be near the microphone here. But tom levavi is the integrity, purity, simplicity of my heart, returning to that Elohai neshama, that pure soul. Bekerev bayti is reestablishing my boundaries that were violated. And that's really what happens when other people, sort of shame us or project on us. It's a kind of a violation of our boundaries, and we want to reestablish that bayti, my house, and feel the safety really of the present moment. Like the past was, if we're living in the past, that's not so safe. If we're living in the future with our anxieties about what might happen, that's not so safe. But this present moment has this kind of integrity to it. It's the place where God touches us in this moment. So I'm going to chant this chant, and anybody that feels like just taking a little walk, chanting with us and taking a walk, and as if you are walking on a pathway of returning to glory from wherever you have been, whatever trance you've been in. You're returning.
Et-halaych, tom levavi, bekerev bayti. Et-halaych, tom levavi, bekerev bayti. Et-halaych, 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 betom levavi, bekerev bayti. Et-halaych, betom levavi, bekerev bayti. Et-halaych, 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 betom levavi, bekerev bayti. Et-halaych, betom levavi, bekerev bayti. bayti. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych. Betom levavi. B'kerev bayti. Et-halaych. Betom levavi. B'kerev bayti. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych. Betom levavi. B'kerev bayti. Et-halaych. Betom levavi. B'kerev bayti. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Betom levavi. B'kerev bayti. Et-halaych. Betom levavi. B'kerev bayti. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych. Et-halaych, et-halaych.
So I want to invite everyone just to stand, and have your eyes closed and imagine breathing into the heart. And just become aware of the soles of your feet and their touching. Imagine that's not just the floor, but it's the earth that your feet are touching. Feeling that solidity underneath you, that tsuri, sense of God as my rock beneath me. And as you breathe into your heart, just find in some dark corner of your heart some old place of shame or somebody else's stuff, whatever you've taken in somehow into your own heart. And breathe into that place. And on the exhale, send it down into the earth through your feet. Just exhale down into the earth. And as you inhale that earthy, loving, supportive energy up into your heart. Let it fill your heart. Just take a couple more breaths into the heart, filling your heart with kind of a sense of authenticity, goodness, empathy, wholeness. And if you want to, again, search into the heart for some kind of feeling of darkness, of old stuff ready to be released, you breathe into it. And on the exhale, send it down through your feet into the earth. Feel through the soles of your feet this wonderful energy coming back up into your heart, just nourishing you, filling you with a sense of worth. And just stay with that for a couple more breaths. When you're ready, you can sit down and again take a look around the Zoom room, connecting with all these pure souls, all of this beauty. So I want to do one more practice on this journey from shame to glory, which is the practice of letting that glory sing, and it's one of those things that, like, the reason I chant is because when I find something inside myself, that I want to affirm, I give it expression. And I might dance it, I might sing it, I might paint it. I want to give it expression. I want to make it real. I want it to be reflected back to me by others. I want to play with it. I want it to lift it up into expression. And so this verse from Psalm 30 says, "Let my glory sing to you, v'lo yidom," and not be silenced. And that's really what shame does. It silences us. And I always say there's a good silence and the bad silence. The bad silence is that having that sense of being shut down, and that that I know when that guy said you're disgusting, it like went someplace in me. It shut something down in me, and it's never too late to
heal it.
to heal it.
That's right.
To lift it up, and to be able to say, oh, I'm not going to be shut down. I'm going to let my glory sing. I'm going to let my glory sing as my life, as my voice, as my expression. I invite you to use a little gestures with this chant. I always think about the kind of like that I'm in Venice on one of those boats and the gondolas, and I'm singing, and so if I sometimes I sing in Hebrew, but I have a little bit of an Italian accent when I'm singing in Hebrew. That's why. It's because it's the gondolas. I want to sing it, and I have never actually been on one of those gondolas, but I saw cartoons about it when I was young.
Many cartoons about it.
Everything I learned from the cartoons. So that Yizamercha, just let it shine, play with it, let it out. Use a little bit of a gesture there to let it shine. Okay.
I will do it.
Close your eyes, breathe into the heart, feel that place in the heart that is being freed up by the chant. Allow it to shine and fill every crevice, shining into the swamplands, bringing this radiance to every part of your being, enlivening any place in you that has become numb, opening you up to the possibility of joy. And if you feel like you found a little bit of light inside you, open your eyes and send it to around the Zoom room.
Which is across the world.
Across the world. Send it to
South America,
all of those
Australia.
faces. Yeah.
Diana, so good to see you. And Tony and Sandy and Johnny.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you for your practice. Don't leave yet. I want to say that this that the soul lift. I'm definitely going to do the soul lift retreat in Florida at a place called the Franciscan Center. And one of the things that tipped the scale of wanting to do this retreat is they have a screened-in porch that could be our classroom, so we could be outside the whole time in Tampa in the screened-in porch, So without masks, because we'll be outside, and we could chant and really explore this path of love together in person. That would just be so wonderful. So anyway, it's on January 31st to February 5th, and I will have it on my website for you to
5th or 6th.
Sign up. 6th. The 6th. Yeah. And meanwhile, we keep KZOOMing, and
because we love it. It's like our weekly fix of goodness.
Getting to see your beautiful faces.
Yeah. Nourishment.
And Laura, that thing that you're wearing is just like amazing.
bold.
I want to see it. Oh no! I mean, you're the shirt that
The
you're
shirt?
wearing. Yeah, yeah. That's something.
There's some color. See this, and your thing. This contradiction to shame is wearing, happy colors, bold colors, and bold things.
Right.
The heart is from you, Shefa.
Oh, right, from
my
the soul
God.
lift. From the soul lift.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
So
Like turquoise.
yeah.
Yeah.
What I want to do is to give people a chance to a little bit check in about your practice, because I think that we stirred a lot up here, and to connect with in a breakthrough group with a few people,
If you
three
can
or four
stay.
people if you want to stay for
That
10
would be
minutes, and just to have a conversation about what got stirred up in this practice. Maybe there's a memory that you want to release. Maybe there is, so anybody who wants to stay, and those who are leaving, we send you with our blessing. But those who might want to stay and just have 10 minutes of just meeting others and connecting up.
And those of you that are watching this later in the future can call a spirit buddy, have a spirit buddy with you
Right.
to check in.
Right.